Hey there, your fairy oracle card of the day is the fairy godmother. She's the one that popped up. Card number 25. Gifts, talents, grace, and helpful lessons. One morning recently, I was having a breakfast at the local cafe, and my favorite waitress, Peggy, stopped by my table and asked what I was working on. I showed her my scribbled in copy of Good Fairies, Bad Fairies, and explained that I was choosing the cards for an oracle deck. Of course, the fairies were choosing them, but I didn't necessarily want to explain that to the whole cafe. Peggy had been having a bad morning with difficult customers, and she had reached the stress point where she was dropping and spilling things, which only made matters worse. I encouraged her to pause for a bit, since the cafe wasn't really busy, and took a look at the fairy pictures. She thought she couldn't, but I employed the Piper's Wiles, card 24, of a friendly coaxing, and she took a little time out to look. When Peggy got to the page of the fairy godmother, she stopped and smiled. "Oh, yes," she said. "She must be in the deck. Definitely, she must." The longer Peggy looked at her, the bigger her smile grew, and the more insistent she was that I include Sari in the deck. When she went back to work, I noticed that she had a little smile on her face, and her whole energy had changed. Things were not jumping out of her hands any longer either. This is how Sari, the fairy godmother, works. She gives us grace to help us along the way. It might be a little touch of fairy dust to lift a mood. It might be a conspicuous miracle. It might be anything in between. She protects us from the ill will and plain stupidity of others and from our own mistakes. She untangles the snarls in our psyches and bestows gifts upon us whenever she feels we need. Sometimes she gives us choices when we thought we had none. Grace is the good fortune we get from the universe when we don't deserve it. In fact, deserving and not deserving is not the issue. We are, and therefore we are loved. It's that simple. Sari, the fairy godmother, is a giver of grace and occasionally, quite often in fact, of useful lessons. She tries not to interfere with our learning process, but she adds that little touch of fairy grace that helps us learn a little faster sometimes. Quite often, she acts in our lives through the hands and hearts of others. The fairy godmother is the only one to wear a crown of stars, flowers, and branches, which says a lot about her. Luckily, each of us has a fairy godmother to provide the extras that our guardian angels are often too busy to think about. Fairy godmothers in general are well known for their love of parties. Don't forget to invite them to your festivities and special occasions. The fairy godmother glows through us as we perform loving and appropriate kindness for those and develop our capacity for unconditional love. Sari offers last-minute rescues. When she turns up in our readings, good things may well be happening that we don't think we deserve, or that we deserve but haven't thought to ask for. Almost imperceptibly, she teaches us about giving and receiving unconditionally, helping us to open our hearts and love and appreciate. She sometimes showers us with abundance. Keep an eye out for unexpected good fortune, especially when you thought you saw bad luck headed your way. Remember to say thank you by passing on kindness to someone else. Practice a little fairy godmothering yourself and see how enjoyable it is. Part of the fun of it is to do it so that the recipient doesn't know where the gift came from.